Hi, friends. It's pleasure to connect with you in February Heart Month. Thanks so much for joining from the US, India, Singapore. I'm going to request everyone to mute yourself unless you are talking. Barbara had. Hi, Barbara. Why don't you start us off for today?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Anand. I was wanting to share that I've been doing the 14-hour fast, and they've been sleep easy. Sometimes I've had to stop them before the 14 hours, but a lot of times I'd go to 15, 16, 17 hours just because I wasn't ready to eat. But I wondered if I thought I might never be able to do the 24-hour, but I'm not going to worry about that now. But I think it was last Thursday or Friday where I had eaten the night before. I'd finished eating around 5 o'clock. And the next day, it was getting towards noon. And I thought, wow, this is the longest I've gone without eating. And my mind goes blank sometimes. Sorry. If you could help get back on track. I have trouble sometimes talking.
You were saying last Thursday you were able to go all the way after your noon time without eating.
Right. I finally decided it was time to eat. It was like noon or something. And for some reason, all afternoon, I kept getting interrupted with what I was doing. A phone call that lasted for several hours, and then other neighbors. And all of a sudden, I realized I just went 24 hours. And it was totally, I mean, I didn't expect it. I wasn't planning on it. I thought it was too soon for me to be able to, but I felt, I felt really good afterwards. I wasn't hungry, but I mean, other than just the normal vague hunger, And so anyway, I wanted to share that with you. It was an unexpected treat for me.
Congratulations on doing your first 24 hours, Barbara. Thanks for bringing it to our group. Couple of quick thoughts that I wanted to share here. One is you've been with us for nearly 1.5 months already. So these thoughts are in your subconscious mind now, thinking, okay, can I go a little longer? And then the liver is also preparing for more natural processes, natural ketosis, metabolic switch, we call that. And even though you might not have deliberately done this for years or decades or all lifelong, genetically, we are all able to do this. Over millions of years, we've evolved to be able to survive without eating for longer periods of time than 3 meals a day. So once you tried it, the other thing was you had a long phone call. So the mind had other things to connect with and not come back to the food. So that's why you were able to go 24. So now it is part of you. Now you can take ownership for it. And once in a couple of weeks or so, you can try to go a little longer. And it is okay to be hungry. That is the last thing I wanted to remind. Emotional eating, we don't want to do that too much. Habitual eating, where by the clock we eat 3 meals a day, even that is okay. Better thing is to actually feel physically hungry before we eat anytime throughout life. That is more a true way of living. And even that physical hunger, emotional, habitual, and even the physical hunger, we can live with it for minutes, hours, sometimes even longer, if we choose to, with relaxation, through smiling, through deep gratitude, and plenty of water. That is when that metabolic switch happens very well. And once the body learns it over a few weeks, then even through that physical hunger, we'll be recognizing that it is part of being healthy and we can go much longer. If we choose to, if people are wanting to lose some weight, this may be the most direct and beneficial way, not only for the body, but also it directly elevates consciousness. That's what I wanted to leave you there with. Thanks so much for sharing, Barbara. Any other quick questions, suggestions before we go to some slides I have here? Anybody is welcome to unmute yourself. Say hello if you've not met us before. I'm seeing some new faces.
Yes, it's me. I just heard about this program, and just wanted to say hi. Obviously, I missed a lot of your reunions in here, and I'm just wondering how can I, if there is a one-on-one consultations that we can do, or there is another group of like this that you're doing more. I'd really like to hear what you have to teach and what you have to talk about.
So this did not start as teaching. This started as a way of staying connected with my patients and trying to encourage them to do a little more with their lifestyle so that they can cope with their 25 medicines, 18 diagnoses, and 4 other tests coming up within the next month. So we've started this in 2015 as a group clinic. Formally since 2017, I think we've been doing this in the VA for veterans. But because I work across the street at the university also, we've been able to get the community patients in the program. Since the pandemic started, the program is on Zoom. So now people from anywhere in the world can join us on Mondays instead of Fridays. And we do it for 8 hours altogether over 2 months. And this is it as far as the programming. So we don't treat anybody through this Heartful Living. The aim is for 30 minutes each session. We will show some slides, discuss some topics, 15 minutes. We do question answers and then practice some mindfulness methods. And that's about it. I work in Columbia, Missouri at the VA and at the university. And if people are here, I'm happy to take care of them in Missouri. But otherwise, if you shoot me an email, I might be able to give you some guidelines what can be pursued, but obviously medical care needs direct one-on-one interaction.
Yes.
I'm not even sure if you are in this part of the US.
No, I'm just I have a vacation home in Miami, but I live in Canada, in Winnipeg. So
in Canada, okay, yeah. Welcome.
Yes. Okay, so I'll listen to these ones now, and then probably I'll send you an email, and then we can chat that way.
Today is the best session, so you made it in time.
Okay, perfect.
So you'll hear me say that every day. Life is only today, right? Yesterday is all gone. All the recordings we'll give you at some point.
Okay.
Anybody else wants to say hello to us?
Recordings from the other sections?
Yes. All 8 weeks recordings we have. All of that we'll give. It's all free and easily accessible.
So how do I get into them?
If the easiest way will be HILIFE highlifejourney.org. It's not yet posted there. I think by next week we'll have all the sessions posted. It'll be YouTube links, so you can click and view it anytime. highlifejourney.org.
Okay.
I'll just type it in also. Does anyone? Oh yeah, somebody just typed it also.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marcia. Anyone wants to say hello to us before we get down with some slides?
Hi, my name is Som Singh. Hi, Dr.
Som. Hi. Welcome.
Thank you. For me, this is my first time that I've ever been to the High Life meetings, but I think the one thing I wanted to just see is kind of how just the entire like holistic approach towards like cardiac care and just like lifestyles, the big reason I wanted to come in. From my background, I'm a medical student right now, so I'm just trying to essentially find other like supplementary ways to like look at lifestyle medicine, which I think is what I'm trying to gain from seeing all of this.
Excellent. See, I am a cardiologist trained in the US for the most part. I did my medical school in India, and this holistic aspect I'm not trained. I'm learning through my patients, with my patients, and it's an amazing journey. Now I have guidance of traditional Siddha doctors. Siddha Ranbuganapati has joined us today, so you might hear him at the end of my slides. So we have 5,000 years of tradition in Siddha consciousness, which is the core of what we teach. But we don't practice any integrative medicine or anything. It's just the consciousness aspect. So we use that to transform lifestyle from within. Just like you heard Barbara speak today. She's just trying a few little things. And these few little interventions that people do on their own ends up being so transformative in the big picture, better than many of our medicines put together. As a cardiologist, a person on 10 medicines ends up needing 5 more when they have a heart problem. But when I do this Heartful Living, we find people on 20 medicines are able to stop 16, 17, 18 medicines. So that is the fun aspect of this journey for me. So we'll go ahead and share some slides, and then Som, why don't you email me afterwards? You had shown some interest in research. That is something that just came up today, so we can talk later after this session. So let me see if I can. So you are seeing my slides, right? Oops.
Yes, we can.
Okay. There is actually another way to share. Let me see if that works. Share screen. Yes, I got what I wanted. You're again seeing the slides?
With
Yes.
the bar, yes, now full
Yes,
slide.
we can.
Super. So we'll go ahead and get started with a few slides. So today, February 21st, we want to have time for discussing individual experiences. That's why we started with Barbara's story, where she accidentally was able to go to a 24-hour fasting. So today we are at the 7th session. Next week will be the final live program for Heartful Living. And this is the link, highlifejourney.org, where all these recordings will be available for anyone to view in a couple of weeks. So I just wanted to remind that we have a circadian rhythm by nature, and our cortisol levels are highest at certain points of the day. Early in the morning, they start peaking. And then our melatonin level has a different peak. So this melatonin might help us get to sleep. So just taking a pill may not do it. It's an over-the-counter pill. But if we can regulate our habits well, we should be able to get 7, 8, 9 hours of good restful sleep with very little interruption through the night. That will give us so much energy, confidence, relaxation to cope with whatever life challenges we have. So when we wake up, we are fresh, hopefully. We are not thinking of sleep, but through the day, that need for sleep slowly actually only should increase. So by 6 p.m., 7 p.m., if we start slowing down, in the sense not participating in very busy work or even eating itself is like an exercise for the whole body. So by 7 p.m., if we start slowing down, then through the night, by later in the night, we'll get really sleepy and naturally fall asleep. So being tired and fatigued, that's a different thing. That can be from physical or mental exhaustion, whereas being sleepy is a natural response of the human body. So now I move on to these are a few slides I gathered from Thrive. This is a VA-based program to help veterans. And I attended it all week last week. So I got inspired to bring a few slides from that program. So this is what I learned about what Hippocrates said in 400 BC, that the body and the mind are not that easy to separate. They're all connected. And then dualism came out in 1600s, Descartes. And then again, Jung integrated it in 1900. And Jean Kabat brought this back to the US from Tibetan Buddhist thinking. And he said mindfulness is so important, not only for us to relax, but also to get better physical health. So in the last 3-4 decades, mindfulness, you see, discussed in a lot of things as far as mental stress reduction, weight reduction, companies, how they will thrive better, industries, how they can do better. So mindfulness is taking a bigger and bigger role in a lot of things. This is a decision model brought about by Richard Barrett, where he says we gather information. Say if somebody wants to quit cigarettes, he first learns a little bit about why the cigarette is hurting him, why something he has done for the last 30 years, he now suddenly has to understand it from a different view. Then he processes all that. And then when it makes sense for him, then he makes that decision. But a lot of times we are making things without even thinking why we are making certain decisions. We just react to external environment. Sometimes we make a valuable response based on our own cues, our values, our conscious thoughts. Then we say, okay, this is the right thing. This is what I'm going to do proactively. And then this reflection, they say, is the higher thing, where we are inspired to do the right thing, where we are trusting our inner intuition and doing the better thing for our community or for our family's well-being, things like that. So when we are more conscious, Richard Barrett suggests that we'll be making better decisions. But when we talk about heartful living, it is not just the logic, not just the reasoning and the mind. We talk about that intuition so much. So intuition and instinct are not that far apart. So they circle back. And I feel they are all connected. If we are able to connect at a deeper level on a regular basis, we can go even further than where Barrett suggests we should be. So then, what is this mind? How do we use this mindfulness? It's a simple mnemonic. When your mind is trying to wander away, we want you to stop, then observe the thought without judgment, then let it go and return to the object of focus. So this is what is the simple tips to understand mindfulness. Last week, Willie said after the session, Anand, I was hoping you will give us 2 minutes to meditate. Otherwise, we keep talking and we don't sit down to meditate. So let us remind ourselves, this is just 1 or 2 minutes, but after our 1 hour session is over, I request you to go and then try this again for a few minutes, okay, at leisure. But today, for 1 minute at least, we'll sit in quiet meditation while the slide reminds us how to stop, how to observe what our mind is thinking. And then it's just like passing cloud, let that thought go and bring your attention back to the breathing. So to start off, sit back in your chair, as far back as you can go in your chair. Sit up straight if you can, without resting your neck anywhere. Let the neck and the body be erect. Feel your feet on the ground. Relax your feet. Relax your abdomen. Feel the breath as it comes and goes from your chest. Relax your chest. Relax your neck. I'm going to mute myself, so you can also mute yourself for a minute, but just close your eyes and just focus on the breath as it comes and goes from your nose. Just focus there, and whatever thought comes, just observe the thought and then gently try to bring the attention back to the breathing. We'll start meditation. You can rub your hands like that, warm them up a little bit, and then you can put it on your face. I enjoyed that couple of minutes. Hopefully you liked it too. We think time is eternal in the future, but this moment is the one that is actually eternal. How deep can we go inside this moment? That is what Heartful Living is all about. So between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is the power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Viktor Frankl came from the Holocaust. He lost most of his friends while he was in prison. But then this, after years of struggle and pain and near-death experiences, this is a psychologist who wrote a very profound book on human survival under extreme conditions. And this is what he says. He chose to find meaning and go on despite the odds being so far against his survival. So the benefits of mindfulness are, there is a direct reduction in stress, depression, anxiety, in pain, as well as distress related to chronic diseases. So heart disease, we can expect a reduction in blood pressure. For diabetics, we are seeing significant improvement. In HIV, we are seeing improvement in cell counts. Irritable bowel syndrome gets better. In transplant patients, they do so much better. And there is a direct improvement in quality of life, improvement in sleep, stress levels come down, immune response gets better, especially in this COVID world. It is so important to have optimal immunity to reduce inflammation and directly improve longevity and neuroplasticity. Longevity means the biological age. Neuroplasticity means reducing our chance of dementia. So for 2 minutes, we were trying to get back to the present by sitting still. A lot of times, not only our body, but our mind also misses and thinks about the past or is anxious about the future. So staying in the moment gives us such a deep level of freedom. This Buddha is such a beautiful example, but he lived only 2000 years ago. That's not that long ago compared to our human history of several million years. So what he had 2000 years ago was not the luxury that we have. We are able to do archaeology. We have science that not only goes to the moon and Mars, but we also have so evolved technologies that we are able to go back in the past and tell where we came from, what our origins are, and how we are related to dinosaurs that are not walking anymore. So without that knowledge, when faced with the human pain and suffering, Buddha went to this Bodhi tree and sat down to find out answers from his own consciousness. This is very profound and it has transformed the world. But how many of us in day-to-day living can go sit under some tree just like he did for a few days, maybe even a lifetime, to come out with profound answers? Just looking at the mind directly is not that easy. The Tamil Siddha tradition is not based on religion. What it is based on very simple intuitive things. I'm going to give you a very small example for that. In this Thrive sessions, we discussed about mandala painting. This is actually the way it is done for 2000 years in Tibetan Buddhist tradition. Buddhist monks, several of them, take a lot of pain to use colored sand to do this painting. It is not etched in stone. It is just dropped into the art form. So it takes weeks for them to do this. It takes a lot of concentration. And the main aspect of this mandala, which I think is very profound, is after a few weeks enjoying this painting, they take a brush and just dust it off and the table is all that is left, and they start the next mandala, which takes another few months. So why would they spend months on doing something that is impermanent? Whereas Mona Lisa, it is so permanent in Louvre Museum in Paris, right? So the difference is, this Buddhist philosophy, they want people to remember the impermanence of life. How much ever effort we put in, it is still not of, in a longer period of time, all of this is impermanent. So that actually is a deeper level of freedom through which we can operate and move through life with that much more confidence. Another example of a mandala-like work that is not needing to be a monk. You can be a commoner at home in Tamil Nadu. And this is what is done for several thousand years in our tradition, where they take plain white or multicolored kolam, we call that. And they take 5 minutes, sometimes half an hour, sometimes even longer on festive occasions. And it takes so many skills of math, identifying, measuring, designing, experimenting, and explaining. So all of these logical skills, creativity, all of this is put into play so that every day people celebrate this mind-body method. And it is still done in our part of India. This, again, I came across in Thrive, and this concept has been around for decades now. Volunteering helps us more than the people we help. Why I say this is because 50% of people who volunteer report feeling better. Nearly half the time they feel stronger and more energetic. They feel warmer, calmer, and less depressed, as well as improved self-worth. Self-compassion goes up, and much lesser arthritis, pain, and body aches. So when we go and help somebody in the community, we are actually equally or even more helping ourselves. Now, coming to Winter Olympics that just is going on in China, I just looked up how fast can a human being move. And there are two sports, luge and skeleton. And here the feet are going first, here the head is going first. But if you look at the speeds, this is mind-boggling. 130 to 150 kilometers per hour speed. There is no car or anything to protect if there is a crash. This is all there is. He's just sliding at that speed through the ice. So this is the speed that a human being is capable of moving. Now, when we come to just running, we are not the fastest creature on earth. We know that because the cat is faster than us, the dogs are faster, horse is nearly twice as fast as us, and the cheetah, we know, is the fastest land animal at 60 miles per hour. This is Usain Bolt. So the rest of the human kind is a little behind Usain Bolt, right? We know that. So that is the fastest human being can go, which is 27 miles per hour. So we cannot beat the cheetah in a sprint. But I'm going to tell you that we are better than the cheetah in running, because we took 200,000 years to perfect only this aspect, the Homo sapiens aspect. This took us 1 million, maybe 5 million, 10 million years to grow from this pre-human ape forms to Homo sapiens. So in these millions of years, what we have perfected is something that is truly amazing. It is not our ability to write poetry or play tennis. All that came only in the last few thousand years. It is our ability to use fire the right way. It is our ability to use the hands better with more dexterity and use our mind. But mostly, mainly, is to become good runners. That is what made us the prime species on Earth. To the point that even today, we can compete with the ostrich, antelope, camel, dog, and beat them all. The only animal that is still nearly as good as humans are in a marathon is the horse. But even now, out of 10 years, a couple of years, we are beating even these horses in a 22-mile run that happens in Africa, in Wales, in Arizona, in different parts of the world, human beings compete with horses in marathons and they still beat them sometimes. So this is the power of where we are today as human beings. We are the most endurance animals on earth. But what have we done with that? Sports is huge, right? But it is making a lot of fame, name, money for the person who is competing in the topmost sports. It might be Olympics, it may be NFL, it may be tennis, whatever sport we may consider. But where are we left? Unfortunately, we are left watching. We think that is celebration, but that is too far removed from the true action. So how long have we been in this virtual reality? Since we stopped directly participating in all of life. That happened with agriculture. Agriculture, I think, was the first point of specialization, where some of us said, we will focus on making food, whereas the others, they can do other things. That's why we developed our religions, our music, our arts, languages. Everything that happened in the last 10,000 years is because of allotting agriculture to some people. Then what happened? This hunting became a sport. And then all the sports that came up, we become spectators. And now what we're talking about as virtual reality with 3D things, these are the next versions. But what I'm requesting you to connect from this picture is with your own inner nature, with your own body. And throughout life, as long as we are alive, we owe it to ourselves to directly participate in life. We are not going to go hunting again. In the modern life, there is nothing much to hunt in any of our cities, anywhere in the world. But we need to find ways to really connect with ourselves. So this is the last thought I'm going to leave you with. Many of you might know my pet. I shouldn't say mine, it's my daughter's. She's been asking for years, and then we got her this golden doodle called Kulfi. So it's a thought at some point. Then we gave it a name. And then it's not just an image. It is a real thing, right? That's what you're seeing here. This picture was taken yesterday. There is more to this Kulfi than a name, a symbol, or an image. What is more to it than what I'm showing you in this picture? I can unmute here, but I want you to think about what could be more real than a picture. Picture must be true, right? What I want you to remember is this. See, that is the real deal. Him moving. This happened yesterday morning. Sunday morning was so beautiful with a clear sky here in Colombia with all the snow on the ground. So we went there before sunrise, just the two of us, and we had such a beautiful time. But what I'm trying to show you here is that it's not the thought, it's not the picture, it's the movement. Is there anything more real than the movement? Anybody can unmute yourself? There is more to Kulfi than what I just showed. That's the last slide.
Peacefulness?
Peacefulness. Good, but I'm talking about Kulfi here.
His relationship with your family.
No, we are talking about this Kulfi. We are only specifically talking about Kulfi. I'm saying there is more to Kulfi than whatever I was able to share with you so far. What more can be there to Kulfi?
His actual physical presence is.
Barbara, you're right. Do you see the real thing now?
Yes.
So he is this 1-year-old puppy who loves the outdoors. So he makes me go out there and have fun with him. So this is the reason I didn't go to my office. Otherwise, I prefer to do these sessions from my office. But today I thought he should be with us. Okay, now I'm going to ask you one more level. Now I showed you the real Kulfi. I am here with him. But how much am I really with him? How do I celebrate him fully? My attention is now with you, right? We are part of a session for another few minutes. Can I be really with him, although I'm holding him in my hand? Very likely, no. In the trail yesterday, I was definitely more closer to him. So how close we get to him is sometimes in his hands, but lot of times is in our heart. How much attention we can bring. So when we connect with that much attention and love, then we see ourselves from within. So that is that inner journey. And for that, kulfi is fine. For that, even a glass of water is fine. How we connect with it. For Barbara, that day when she was fasting for 24 hours, I can say from here, she loved the food after that and even the water after that 24-hour fast so much more, just because of the amount of hunger she had built through the day. Like that, connect with everything in life directly. So mindfulness is not only in your logic, it is in your ability to directly relate with very simple things. It might be just the snow that I showed in the video yesterday. How do we connect with that snow? It's not going to be there another few weeks. It's going to be warmer. So everything we can connect and relate and directly celebrate. And that's not out of more understanding or thinking. It is more out of experiencing directly. So that's the thing I wanted to leave you with. Okay. Thanks so much. So we can open it up for a discussion on anything today. So preferably, I'd like to hear some patient stories. That was the title. So if somebody has been exploring yourself a little bit more in the last few weeks, just like Barbara said, accidentally I fasted 24 hours. It can be deliberate or whatever you're experiencing that is different from your prior to Heartful Living. Whatever is new, please share with us in what way our program is inspiring you to think outside the box.
I'd like to ask about the fasting. Is that something that you recommend doing every day? Like I hear you talking about the 24-hour fasting and stuff like that. What is it that you recommend?
So Heartful Living didn't start with fasting. It started with flow and with exercising with light mind and then practicing meditation like what we saw, Buddha sitting and meditating. So many things we did. But now in the last 3-4 years, fasting has become a very central aspect of it because many of our friends and patients are directly benefiting from it. So for 14 hours every night, we say don't eat anything. Once a week, if you are not a diabetic and if you don't have liver failure or eating disorders, and if you're not pregnant, then you can go all the way to 24 hours. How do I know you can go for 24 hours? Because by nature, everything over the last millions of years has evolved, not through surplus of food, which is actually hurting our health, but through lack of consistent availability of food. Only in the last few decades have human beings been exposed to consistent food 365 days of the year. If you go back 2 or 3 generations of our own families, you will find that food security was not there throughout the world. It's just human life has become so much more secure because of science that we have the surplus of food. So that's the suggestion. 14 hours, most days of the week, and 24 hours once a week. And we try to go, yes, without any food, just water.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Dr. Anand, when we say 24 hours, I automatically assume that it was from morning till night and the next day. But when Barbara said
becomes 36, yes, that becomes 36. If you, for entire Tuesday, you don't eat anything, that is a 36-hour fast. What I do is Monday night, I have dinner at 7 p.m. Tuesday night, again, I have dinner at 7 p.m. That is 24. So basically, we are skipping 2 meals.
Okay.
The word skipping is like out of casual or out of being busy with something else. Fasting means it's a deliberate act of love and kindness to our own self. We are not hurting our body. Our body is actually thanking us. The stomach may feel a little queasy because we've not done it all our life. And our mind may feel initially a little stressed, thinking, oh, how am I going to survive? But actually, we are giving some rest to the body and allowing it to recover and repair itself. This is our 5,000, 10,000 years Siddha tradition. And science is now saying what Siddha said 5,000 years ago is not just true, it is profoundly true. Not only for humans, it works even for Kulfi. Our pet that I showed you, what he needs is not what he thinks he needs. If he gets a little less food than what he will normally believe to be the natural intake for him, he will live longer, healthier, happier. this nature does not do by itself, because nature eats whatever it thinks it needs. But scientific studies have shown, from even unicellular organisms to fish to monkeys and dogs and pigs and even human beings, we've shown that cutting down from normal weight, when we cut down on food intake, so normal weight we may assume is a BMI of 24 or 25. A BMI of 26, 27 is considered excess weight. So even if the BMI is only 25, if we cut down our food intake, there is so much more benefit as far as our health, our ability to avoid cancer and dementia. And the heart is definitely going to do so much better by cutting down food intake at that point also. So this 14 hours overnight and 24 hours once a week may be a very simple way to give the body the type of rest that it needs. And whatever today I discussed about kulfi, there are 7 layers of kulfi, right? All those layers you can pierce and directly experience them better when we are a little more hungry. So this mindfulness that we sit and practice like Buddha did is possible only after a lot of training. Whereas this being hungry, we all can just postpone our next meal a little bit. And this is a very direct way of mindfulness. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to sit down and stand still and meditate. You can just practice this through your day-to-day living if you're a little more hungry every day.
So when we say drinking water is okay, can we drink like ginger water or lemon water, or is it should be
okay? But general concept is 0 calories. That is the way to optimize that metabolic switching. People think a keto diet is the way to go into ketosis. That means you eat 70% fat and 30-40% protein and very, very little carbs. It's not the case. Any healthy food from whichever culture you're from, if your grandma says it's food, then it's good. Only in the last few decades, we've moved away to more and more packaged and processed foods. If your grandma thinks this is good food, then you can trust it. So whatever culture we are from, if we cut down the portion, that's all it takes. When we are a little hungry, the body will automatically switch into ketosis. For me, the last 3 years, a lot of time I've been in ketosis. And I'm not been checking my levels regularly or anything. And majority of my diet is carbohydrates, in the sense, it's not from fruit juices or what should I say, cake or cookies or donuts. It's mostly from vegetables, fruits, things like that, and brown rice, quinoa. All of that is carbohydrates. But that is, I think, much healthier than adding too much protein from meat and also oils and other things, excess saturated fat. So we want to minimize that. So 70%, 60 to 70% carbs, 15 to 20% proteins, 10% fat is the ideal. WHO, World Health Organization, recommends that ratio, majority complex carbohydrate based diet throughout the world for all of us to be healthy.
This is Angela. I think it's important to remember the beginning with, particularly for those of us that have multiple health issues. It's easy for those to hijack the bus and become the focus of our life. And by practicing gratitude and by learning how to be aware and to be mindful and still with ourselves, then I think, the rest of the things begin to fall into place. So for me, that initial foundation was key, to helping me raise my awareness and be able to make a decision. That's all.
Beautiful. Thanks so much.
So my husband was not feeling very good last week. And I said, why don't we just try for 3 days to eat just healthy, and kind of just clean your system out. And so for 3 days, we did this. And this morning he said he got up and he's like, I'm back. I feel better. I feel, and I know it's just, eating. We only ate really 1 meal a day, and got exercise, took long walks 2 days, and ate good, clean food is what I would call it. Clean food, nothing processed. So, which he's really bad about eating processed food. So trying to change his habits of that. And he's a slender guy, so he doesn't think that he needs, to worry about, fat content, but I'm pretty sure all of that's not, you know, not really good for him. So
anyway. Also beautifully said. I've also been like this. My BMI has been always below 24 throughout my life. But because I used to enjoy white rice, I come from southern India where we love to have plenty of rice. That much rice I just didn't need. It has so much high density calories. So when I was 30, my sugar level was 105, which is pre-diabetic. And then I was asked to take metformin by my friends here. So far, I haven't taken any medicines. And I'm now 48. And that's because I moved away from white rice, more to brown rice and quinoa. But even that, I minimize it. Compared to before, I'm probably having only 1/10 of the rice, much more of the content I have with vegetables these days. So that sort of switching, although the BMI may be fine, we can do so much more inside that. And by switching the food itself, I became much healthier. In the last 3 years, by learning and exploring fasting, I've become, what should I say, much more energetic than before, because I continue to play tennis with young, active, good tennis players. So it's very hard for my body to recover in these cement hard courts. Now I can play every day of the week for 2 hours because I'm putting less food in the body. That is the simple thing my body is telling me as a day-to-day experience. Earlier, I used to get a lot of aches and pains, ankle, knee, back. I am still playing more tennis than ever and doing better because less food, and whatever food I put in is less inflammation. The least inflammatory things we can put in our body ends up being vegetables, nuts, walnuts, avocado. These are the healthiest fat. And then all the fruits are okay. If you have the fruit, it shouldn't come in a bottle that you drink. No, fruit means it's a thing you use a knife to cut with and eat. So that is what a fruit is. And the things to minimize that can increase inflammation and cholesterol for heart patients are all the processed and organ meats, as well as empty sugars that's present in sweetened beverages, as well as cookies, donuts, ice cream, anything that tastes good.
Yes, I really agree to what Dr. Anand told just now, because I'm a person who doesn't like to eat rice, and I eat very, very little. But my family members used to tell me, how come you're able to survive and very energetic the whole day? I do not know, probably eating very less keeps us to be energetic, and I'm able to run around the whole day. So now I understand how it works.
I wish I had learned this when I was younger. I learned it in this, but at least I learned it before my life is done. So I'm happy that I need less food to be more energetic. Beautifully said, Naga. Siddhar Anbu Ganapati, are you around, sir, to tell us some things?
Yes, sir. Sir, Doctor Vanakkam, you gave one quote from Viktor Frankl. There is a space between stimulus and response. What is being done in Vasi Yogam? In Vasi Yogam, that is breathing practice, yogis could realize this tiny transcending space between stimulus and response. Actually, there is a beautiful poem written by Sivavakya. I would like to tell the Tamil version and explain it in English. Illai, illai, illai endru iyambuகின்ற ஏழைகள். Illai, illai, illai endru iyambuகின்ற ஏழைகள். இல்லை என்று நின்ற ஒன்றை அல்ல எனல் ஆகும். இல்லை அல்ல, ஒன்றும் அல்ல, இரண்டும் ஒன்றி நின்றதை எல்லை கண்டு கொண்ட பேர்கள் இனி பிறப்பது இல்லை. This is what the poem says. What actually he means there is, we can think of a pendulum in the wall clock. In olden days, we had a pendulum which is oscillating. it goes to the right extreme and left extreme and goes on moving. For an observer, it appears the pendulum is always in a state of moment. But that is not true. At the right extremity and left extremity, it stops for a time that cannot be measured. It stops for a while. It reaches the maximum and again comes down. There is a space. That space has to be realized as the space between stimulus and response. That tiny space is realized by practicing Vasi Yogam or Pranayama. How? You inhale and you exhale. People think that it is counting in terms of inhalation and exhalation. It's not so. You observe or focus your mind at the meeting point of your in-breath and out-breath. We do not know when the in-breathing ends and when the out-breathing starts. So inhalation ends and exhalation starts at one point, which is so narrow, so tiny, which transcends actually the time, and that is immeasurable. The more you try to measure it, the more it becomes impossible. So that is the tiny meeting point of inhalation, exhalation. That's a goal of pranayama, which has been also experienced by Viktor Frankl. He said that there is a space between stimulus and response. I hope I am able to present it. Thank you.
Nandri Ayya, thank you. Beautiful. People who haven't spoken yet.
I got one more question. You were talking about the carbs and eating more vegetables and stuff. I have a heart problem, which is called Minoka. And I wonder what kind of, not a diet, but I mean, what kind of eating you recommend? I know going vegetarian, it will help my blood pressure.
So how do you expand Minoka?
Pardon me?
Do you know what is Minoka?
Minoka, I get spasms and a small arteries going to the heart.
Yes. So there is no actual occlusive coronary lesion that you can put a balloon or bypass or stent. But the pain is true. It is coming from the heart and limits the ability to do things. So now there is some good research going on in top universities in the US that I'm trying to start a work to collaborate, because in our Colombia, where I am, we don't have that many patients with this specific condition. We do have some, but we want to see if our simple holistic methods might specifically help this condition. So you may be the first one, so that you shoot me an email, we'll get some questionnaires answered, and then we'll get you involved in this program over the next 3 months. You continue to take care of your health with the help of your medical doctor and your cardiologist in Canada. But yes, what we are teaching here is just a little manipulation of your diet and understanding your mind at a little deeper level that might make profound transformation in the stress levels and microvascular function, endothelial function, to the point that you don't have the need for the anti-anginal medicines 3 months from today. That is what I'm hoping. We will see how this goes. I'm so glad you joined us. Once we are able to show good benefit for one person, for you, for instance, then we can say this works and open it up for more people to try. Any medicine doesn't work for everybody. It works for some people at some degree. But since this is complementary, we are comfortable giving it to anyone and asking people to try.
That's what I'm looking for, different options.
Definitely. And I do so glad you joined us today.
Yeah, I heard, like I said, I thought I was too late because you only have 2 classes left, but definitely I like to get in touch. And
one more quick point. When I say out of 20 medicines, people are able to stop 18 medicines. They're not all 18 heart medicines. So I may stop 3 or 4 medicines. They come away from diabetes medicines and depression medicines, arthritis medicines, a lot of stress medicines. So those are the things where we feel we can continue to impact through these very simple things. So we don't, so you're already at 7th week. So next week, it's not something that secret I'm going to reveal. It's just the same concept. We just want to reinforce these simple ways so that people recognize the value. This is not just a lecture you attend and turn it off. These are things that we want you to explore from within yourself. And like Barbara made it happen. By itself, she says, I didn't even try 24, whether she tried or not. She made it to 24. So it is her, what should I say, owner. She is the owner of it now. So she can say, oh, I can do it anytime I wish to do it. It might be 2 years from today, or it might be just next week. But when she tries it, she will know that it will be something that she probably will do successfully. There may be a little headache. If we drink a little more water, we'll learn what needs to be done. We can talk some more about the specifics. But the intention is to understand ourselves at a deeper level. That is the only intention of Heartful Living. People who haven't spoken so far, anything you would like to say before we conclude?
Hi, my name is Christiani, and I joined you on the Osher class. So that's how I found out about this program. So, so I'm just interested because I'm interested in those kind of subjects area. Anyway, about your talk today in regard to mind, it comes to me because in regard to mind and guilty, at what level, for example, because yeah, we can take the time to be present and to do what we want. But at the same time, we have sometimes those external forces that come to our mind that of the guilty, but I should be doing this or should be doing that. And when we get to this equilibrium, if there's any technique that we can say, you know, I don't care about what is out there, I'm here now. So that's,
let me see if I get the word right. You're asking mindful versus duty, D-U-T-Y, right?
Yes.
So this is very important. You're asking whether we can multitask at some points and then come back to mindfulness later. The answer is our biggest duty to our society, to ourselves, and to our being alive, the biggest duty is being mindful. Without being mindful, whatever thing we are trying to do, we are not doing even half of our full potential.
Okay.
So you will realize this as you experience that mindfulness directly. See, when we sit and teach mindfulness, it is still theory. That's why I said so many layers to Kulfi. When we really touch the thing, then it is really there. But even then, am I there for him? So that connection only deepens, and nature is so intuitive. We are also like that. It's just that we have 10,000 things going on in a day. We, on average, have 90,000 to 100,000 thoughts in a day. That's a little too much. Our ancestors did not have to have that many thoughts. And I would say 75% of these thoughts are only limiting our effectiveness. When we are less effective, how can we be fulfilling all our duties? We have to know internally what our duties are. But then when we wholeheartedly commit to something specific, in that moment, we are doing that job very well. And then once it's completed, then we can take our attention and the dutifulness to the next task at hand. Does it make sense?
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Some people ask me, Anand, I drive to work for 30 minutes. In that 30 minutes, I'm trying to do so many things. Why should I focus on the driving? This is a challenging thing to discuss. But many things we have lost. Once we learn that mindfulness at a deep level, then even the driving for that few minutes can be so directly relaxing. So I'm not asking everybody to now start loving to drive, but wherever you are, every moment is where that mindfulness has the maximum opportunity in this moment. And this mind-body method, which we use, the Siddha fasting, hunger, gratitude, we call it. It's just, it's not one tool. I would think this is 60% of what we all need to do, being mindful. It's hard to be mindful in a full stomach. Let me put it that way. When we are more and more hungry, the mindfulness sort of settles naturally.
I think the cognitive behavior strategies are helpful when we get that kind of internal chatter and battle, to acknowledge that should statement, but learn to reframe it to put it in perspective for right now. Because a lot of times that's all baggage from the past. So just because we have a thought doesn't mean we have to act on it. So reframing, acknowledge and reframe it is helpful for me.
Beautiful, Angela.
This is Carol. And I want to say that one thing that helps me if I'm trying to lose weight, if I feel hungry or a little hunger pang, I imagine that that's my body absorbing fats or absorbing excess weight. So the hunger is actually reassuring that my body is eliminating excess weight. So that helps me to experience hunger and see it as a good thing, particularly if I'm dieting. But I should add that I've never been overweight. My BMI is 22. But there are times when I want to lose 5 pounds or something. Like after this Christmas, I thought I'd gained 5 pounds. So I'm, trying not to eat as much as I did over the holidays. And every time I feel a little hungry, I think, no, that's your body absorbing fat. Just chill, you're doing the right thing.
What you're saying is actually true. Body is reutilizing the fat reserves as energy because you're not putting in energy through your stomach. Beautiful.
But that thought helps me a lot to stick with not eating.
Hi, doctor. This is Nag from Tennessee. I find this session extremely useful in 2 aspects. One, you are in some form repeating the same thought process that we need to have week after week in different ways. And 2, your patients sharing their experience and which I can relate to whatever I'm going through. So I just wanted to put on record an update from me. A couple of weeks back, I asked you a question. Doc, I'm doing all this, but I'm feeling so tired. I'm not able to do the exercises that I used to do before. And you said, and Dr. Anbaganapati he also mentioned that after a few weeks of doing it, you will find more energy and you might cross whatever you have been doing in the past. And true to that, this weekend, I was able to exercise or whatever I was doing, do for a much greater length of time and not feel tired after doing that. Normally what I would do is I would do something and say, oh, I did so much. And the rest of the day, weekend, I would just not do anything. And I was available for my family the rest of the week. In fact, the weather here was very beautiful and we went on the trails and things like that. Only now reflecting on all these statements Barbara made and Angela made, Carol made, and you said, and everybody said, I could relate to what happened over the weekend and say, boy, I wasn't tired. I did whatever I wanted to do, exceed in whatever I wanted to, do as part of my regular exercise every day. But later on, I was playing with my son. I was going on the trail. I was doing all those things. So as you just said, just continuing on it, and it gives you much, much more energy than you could even expect. But also I wanted to add one more point to whatever others had said. Whenever I felt, the hunger pangs come up and things like that, just thinking about it, a quick smile, and then drinking some water and moving on really helped. The smile really made me forget everything. Thanks for that tip. Smiling, keep smiling.
Congratulations, Nag. I haven't met you in person. I'm so glad that you spoke because I can talk for 8 hours. But when people who are not directly my own patients here in Columbia, Missouri, or people who don't understand this directly from some other source, they just listen to this Heartful Living on Zoom and try it on their own and say what you just said in 2 minutes. That is the real fulfillment of whatever we are trying to accomplish. This message has been said for the last 10,000 years by Siddhars, but it was sort of not ignored, I should say. It was thought it is too hard. It's like Olympians, they are achievers. They can fast or do things. Common people have to do common things. But now we are finding not common people, even people with so many health issues Even people who are 70, 80, 85 years, they're able to learn these simple things and find so much energy. I wish I had learned this when I was only 15, 20 years old, because I feel I wasted half my life not practicing and not talking about this. But today is never too late. And since Nal is coming and telling exact core of this is less food, more energy. What is that equation?
Yeah.
And he said, it's beyond my thought or some word you use. So it is outside our logical limit straight away.
Absolutely.
Right? So that is that Siddha consciousness. In the Western system, it is called flow. But if you look at what Mihai Csikszentmihalyi wrote, he didn't talk about fasting or smiling or anything. So all this is just the words, but the actual experience transcends human experience. And I'm so glad that you're able to find it. No, are you ever going to walk away from this? Is there compliance questions? No. As long as we are alive, we will do what is best possible. It's not about running more and winning some more medals. It is about being there for the moment, for this puppy. Like that, we want to be alive and around for people around us. That's all life is about. And it's only going to make us more in the moment. And our duties, we can do even better. I think I said that Anbuganavathy wants to say something. He has come back on video.
Doctor, fasting is the best remedy for not only the physical ailments, or any mental ailment also. Fasting in the real sense, conscious fasting. It's not starving because you don't have food. You have food, but you restrain from taking food consciously. That plays a vital role in your system. It rejuvenates you. It increases your lifespan. It gives you enormous strength that you cannot obtain by your food. Your inner layer of energy, it comes to the surface. So you take a new shape, a new strength, and you will see there's something inside you. That is consciousness, that is awareness of one's inner self. That gives you tremendous understanding about everything in this world. See, that is what I experience. I would like to share it. So I just wanted to talk to you. Thank you.
Siddhar Anbuganavathy, he has only one meal every day for the last 20 years, maybe longer. And he says, I'm healthier and more energetic because of it. He comes to all these sessions and he's in clinic taking care of the patients all day long. Thanks so much.
Not only healthier, doctor, for a person of my age, I'm certainly stronger also. I'm not weak.
I got one more question. What is your email address?
I'll put it in that group.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Any other discussion points? We'll turn off the recording.